Hi guys, welcome back to The 100 Dresses by Eleanor Estes, illustrated by Louis Slobodkin. We're on Chapter 2 of this Newbery Honor Book. Chapter 2, The Dresses Game. For a little more. After Peggy and Maddie stopped feeling like intruders in a class that had already begun, they looked across the room and noticed that Wanda was not in her seat. Furthermore, her desk was dusty and looked as though she hadn't been there yesterday. Where they didn't realize that she was absent yesterday, they only realized that she was absent after they were waiting for her because they were going to make fun with her. But really, they were going to make fun of her. I haven't seen what kind of fun they are enjoying, but I don't think she's enjoying having. Let's see. The light is a little better on this. Okay. All right. So, as though she hadn't been there yesterday either. Come to think of it, they hadn't seen her yesterday. They had waited for her a little while, but had forgotten about her when they reached school. They often waited for Wanda Petronski to have fun with her. Wanda lived way up on Boggins Heights, and Boggins Heights was no place to live. It was a good place to go and pick wildflowers in the summer, but you always held your breath till you got safely past Old Man Svensson's yellow house. People in the town said Old Man Svensson was no good. He didn't work, and worse still, his house and yard were disgracefully dirty, with rusty tin cans strewn about, and even an old straw hat. He lived alone with his dog and his cat. No wonder, said the people of the town, who would live with him? And many stories circulated about him, and the stories were the kind that made people scurry past his house, even in broad daylight, and hope not to meet him. Does that sound very nice? It sounds like gossip. That's what it sounds like to me. And gossip is not very nice. Beyond Svensson's, there were a few small scattered frame houses. And in one of these, Wanda Petronski lived with her father and her brother Jake. We've got two more characters. Wanda's father, though we don't know his name, at least not yet, and her brother Jake. Wanda Petronski. Most of the children in room 13 didn't have names like that. They had names easy to say, like Thomas, Smith, or Alan. There was one boy named Bounce, Willie Bounce, and people thought that was fun, but not fun the same way that Petronski was. Wanda didn't have any friends. She came to school alone and went home alone. She always wore a faded blue dress that didn't hang right. It was clean, but, and here's, you can see Wanda's neighborhood. This is, I think, the yellow house, and this must be old Mr. Svensson. And there's his dog and his cat. This is looking a little fuzzier than I would like. Let's see if that's a little easier. And there, you see, some kids are walking by. But it looks pretty. Nice and simple. So her dress, it was clean, but looked as though it had never been ironed properly. She didn't have any friends, but a lot of girls talked to her. They waited for her under the maple trees on the corner of Oliver Street. Or they surrounded her in the schoolyard as she stood watching some little girls play hopscotch on the worn, hard ground. Wanda, Peggy would say in a most courteous manner, as though she were talking to Miss Mason, or to the principal, perhaps. Wanda, she'd say, giving one of her friends a nudge, tell us, how many dresses did you say you had hanging up in your closet? 100, said Wanda. 100? Exclaimed all the girls incredulously. Like they don't really believe her, but they're humoring her. And the little girls would stop playing hopscotch and listen. Yeah, 100. All lined up, said Wanda. Then Her thin lips drew together in silence. "What are they like?" "All silk, I bet," said Peggy. "Yeah, all silk, all colors." "Velvet, too?" "Yeah, velvet, too. 100 dresses," repeated Wanda stolidly. "All lined up in my closet." Then they let her go. And then before she'd gone very far, they couldn't help bursting into shrieks and peals of laughter. 100 dresses! Obviously, the only dress Wanda had was the blue one she wore every day. So what did she say she had 100 for? What a story! All the girls laughed derisively, while Wanda moved over to the sunny place by the ivy-covered brick wall of the school building where she usually stood and waited for the bell to ring. Do you think Wanda knows that they're making fun of her? I do. I'm pretty good at realizing when people are making fun of me. Not having fun with me, but making fun of me. I wonder if those girls that are teasing her are realizing that they're teasing her, are realizing that they're hurting her feelings. But if the girls had met her at the corner of Oliver Street, they'd carry her along with them for a way, stopping every few feet for more incredulous questions. I think we need to look up that word, incredulous. I think I know what it means from the meaning of the context, the story and the words around it, but I'm not 100% sure. I think that's a dictionary word I want to look up. And it wasn't always dresses they talked about. Sometimes it was hats or coats or even shoes. How many shoes did you say you had? 60? 60 pairs of shoes? Or 60 shoes? 60 pairs all lined up in my closet. Yesterday you said 50. Now I got 60. Cries of exaggerated politeness greeted this. All alike? Said the girls. Oh no. Every pair is different. All colors, all lined up. And Wanda would shift her eyes quickly from Peggy to a distant spot, as though she were looking far ahead, looking but not seeing anything. Then the outer fringe of the crowd of girls would break away gradually. I'm going to pause this for just a minute because this is really blurry when I set it down. Let's see. All right, that's better. So then the outer ring would break away gradually, laughing, and little by little, in pairs, the group would disperse or break apart. Peggy, who had thought up this game, and Maddie, her inseparable friend, were always the last to leave. And finally Wanda would move up the street, her eyes dull and her mouth closed tight, hitching her left shoulder every now and then, in the funny way she had, finishing the walk to school alone. Peggy was not really cruel. She protected small children from bullies. And she cried for hours if she saw an animal mistreated. If anybody had said to her, "Don't you think that is a cruel way to treat Wanda?" she would have been very surprised. Cruel? What did the girl want to go and say she had 100 dresses for? Anybody could tell it was a lie. Why did she want to lie? Why do you think Wanda lied? Why do you think she told people she had 100 dresses in her closet and 60 pairs of shoes when she probably didn't? And she wasn't just an ordinary person. Else why would she have a name like that? What do you mean an ordinary person? Anyway, they never made her cry. So because Peggy and Wanda never made her cry, they never thought they were teasing her. Now, does someone have to cry for you to know that you're teasing them? As for me, this business of asking Wanda every day how many dresses and how many hats and how many this and that she had was bothering her. So Peggy does not seem bothered, but Maddie does. Maddie was poor herself. She usually wore somebody's hand-me-down clothes. Thank goodness she didn't live up on Boggin's Heights, or have a funny name. Now, Wanda's funny name is just a different name from a different culture. So it is different. It's unique to the area. There aren't a lot of other Polish immigrants in this area right now. And so it's different. And sometimes when things are different, people don't know how to react. So these girls are trying something, but we'll see if it works for them. And if it works for Wanda. So Maddie is not feeling good about how they're treating Wanda. And her forehead didn't shine the way Wanda's round one did. What did she use on it? Sapolio? That's what all the girls wanted to know. Sometimes, when Peggy was asking Wanda those questions, in that mock polite voice, mock means fake, like a fake polite voice, Maddie felt embarrassed and studied the marbles in the palm of her hand, rolling them around and saying nothing herself. So she's not standing up to Peggy. She's not telling Peggy, stop, that's not nice. And she's not standing up for Wanda. She's not saying, hey, you guys are not being nice to Wanda. Not that she felt sorry for Wanda exactly. She would never have paid any attention to Wanda if Peggy hadn't invented the dresses game. But suppose Peggy and all the others started in on her next. Oh. So Maddie's worried that she will get teased. She doesn't want to be teased, so she's going to let people tease Wanda. She wasn't as poor as Wanda, perhaps, but she was poor. Of course she would have more sense than to say 100 dresses. Still, she would not like them to begin on her. Not at all. Oh dear, she did wish Peggy would stop teasing Wanda Petronski. Here the girls are. This must be Peggy. I think this must be Wanda. I think this Maddie. And that's the end of chapter 2, the 100 dresses game. The dresses game. You enjoyed chapter 2, and will join us for chapter 3 of the 100 Dresses by Eleanor Estes, illustrated by Louis Slobodkin. This Newbery Honor Book. It's about how to treat other people, and how we want to be treated. What would you do if you were in Wanda's shoes? What would you do in Peggy's shoes? Good to think about. Bye for now.